Hey everybody, welcome to Fitzdog Radio. I am sitting here on a warm summer day. My wife has just left me. Not for good! Oh, thank God that never happened. Holy shit. I can't imagine. I really can't imagine my wife leaving me. I mean, I haven't even tried because she's in New York for the next 5 days. We've talked about Aunt Jo died, Aunt Jo in the Bronx, and she has a lot of paperwork in the house. And my wife has gone back to help her sort through it, help her mom sort through it. So we went shopping at Trader Joe's yesterday, loaded up the fridge with some steak tips, some salmon, sausages, turkey meat. I'm going to make dinner every night. I'm going to walk the dog. I always walk the dog anyway. Walk the dog. It used to be dogs. Now it's dog. One dog. It's so fucking weird. My beautiful dog, Brule, who, as you know, he's difficult. He's ornery. He's a biter and has been for the last 13. He was about 16 years old. We just put him down 2 days ago. It was a very sad day. It was very emotional. It was way more emotional than I thought it was going to be. I think because he's been so difficult and because he's so incapacitated, I thought that it would just be kind of rote, just put him down. But that day, the day before even, I just went into a funk. And I just started thinking about all the good times I've had with this dog. He's the dog that when you come home, he is at the front door, tail wagging, looking up at you, just saying, here's a little burst of joy for you. Here's a little feeling of home. Here's a feeling of someone's excited that you're alive. And he was a great snuggler. He was... He followed you around the house. These dogs, they're Lhasa Apsos, and they're sentinel dogs. So they're trained. They were bred in Tibet to look out for the monks. They would stand on the in the property, and they would watch out. They have apparently the best hearing of any dog. But that meant that if you went from one room to the next, so did he. And I would go out at night to do a show. If I was out doing stand-up, he waited by the front door until I got home, and then he walked me into the bedroom at night. And he was very sweet. And then he also bit people constantly and pissed and shit on the rugs and fought with the other dog, attacked the other dog. So it was mixed. It was a very mixed relationship with Brule. By the way, I didn't name him Brule, and I was never happy with the name, but that was his adopted name. He already had it when we rescued him. And so we stuck with it because they said he was the color of creme brulee. And then his brother, initially we adopted him and his brother, and his name was Flan because he was the color of flan. If you think Brulee was ornery, Flan literally in the first days in the house would get on my pillow and piss on it and on my bed. And then when I would try to move him, he would bite me pretty hard. And he lasted about 3 days. And then he had to be sent back to the factory for some reprogramming because we had little kids at the time. I think JoJo was probably about, well, she was 5. Yeah, JoJo was 5 and Owen was 7 when we got the dogs. So we went as a family and we fed them all day. We just kept feeding them food, chicken, steak, and dog bones and treats. He kind of knew something was up because we were all passing him around and holding him. He was like, why the fuck are they suddenly being so nice to me? Something's up here. I don't like where this is going. And so we took him into the place that he's gone for 13 years, and he knows the vets there, and took him in, and they gave him the Michael Jackson drug. They put him on, they OD'd him on propofol, which if I gotta go, let me go on propofol. That seems to be the most joyous, painless way to leave the world. But we cried a lot. Everybody was really crying, and it was very moving. He's been, especially now since me and Aaron are empty nesters. So not only have we lost our 2 kids in the house, now we've lost one of the 2 dogs, and the other one, I'm not going to lie to you, she's not far behind. She is blind, deaf, demented, has no sense of smell. Her life quality is not good. So I don't know how much longer she's going to be around, but I don't want to go through this again right away. Need a little time. Yeah. So that was it. The nice part about the weekend was it was JoJo's birthday. And by the way, I posted on Instagram a picture of JoJo with Brule because it was her birthday and we'd put him down. So I got a few photos of them together. So many notes from people. It was very sweet. So thank you for reaching out. Except the one guy who said, "Hey, why the fuck are you posting pictures of your dead dog?" Thanks, ass. Out of hundreds of messages, which I replied to all of them, or I at least hearted them all. That was the one where I just had to say fuck off. But JoJo had a nice birthday. The family tradition is you get breakfast in bed. We gave her that. Gave her some gifts. And then she went off to get a massage. Her and Aaron went to this massage place that they like, where they do like the full body scrub, a bath, and a massage. And while they were gone, I took her car and I brought it to a detail place. And she had scraped the car many times. There was blue paint, there was red paint, there was white paint on different fenders. Got all the paint off, washed it. Then I went to the car store and I got some Armor All and I got some turtle wax and some air fresheners, and I got her some new floor mats for the car. And then I hand waxed it, Armor All the shit out of it, cleaned the inside, and surprised her. She was very surprised. She's very happy. Car looks fucking good. And now I just got to get her some air conditioning. And then somebody wrote to me. One of the notes was, thank God, Aaron. Thank God JoJo looks like your wife. And I said, she actually looks exactly like me. Lucky bitch. And immediately, as I sent it, Instagram flagged me for bullying. So I've now been flagged by Instagram. I don't know what that means. Is it 3 strikes, you're out, or I'm on a list now for saying bitch. I guess you can't say bitch on Instagram. Playing some golf tomorrow with Rich Voss. I don't know if you guys know Rich Voss. He's a comic from New York. He's a raunchy, filthy degenerate. He's one of those sober degenerates. So I think all his energy goes into drinking coffee and playing golf at this point. So I haven't seen him in a while. Very psyched to play golf with him tomorrow. Me, him, and Richie, the guy that's he runs the Comedy Store, and then Dennis Gubbins will come out just to put in his 2 cents. Watched a lot of Wimbledon this weekend. You guys watch Wimbledon? Holy shit! What a great fucking tournament it was. I'm mixed on Djokovic winning. Curious. How do we say his name wrong? He's an exciting player to watch. But he got in his own head. He played his stupid games of running his mouth. In the first set, he didn't say a word. He didn't complain. And he fucking won 6-4 in the first set. If he just played that game, he would have been fine. Soon as he started talking, he started losing points. And you can't give Djokovic an inch. The guy is a perfect player. Doesn't have a weak spot in his game. So now the race is on. He's one Grand Slam behind Nadal now. Nadal. I get yelled at for saying Nadal. I got this text from a friend of mine. This was very funny. A very dear friend of mine that I started with in comedy he's like me. He's a road dog, and we take gigs that sometimes sound good and they don't always turn out well. So I texted him, "How's your summer going?" And he said, "Well, hold on, where is it? Wait, I wrote it down. Oh, well, since you asked, I just wrapped up 28 shows in 7 days at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia. I was heckled mercilessly by 5-year-olds, and there were crying babies in virtually every show. During one show, a heavy-set elderly woman couldn't get her scooter out of reverse, so it beeped throughout my entire show. Large tour groups from Pakistan, India, Japan sat in the front rows and just stared at me. Just brutal. 25 minutes per show, 4 shows a day, no internet in the green room, perhaps the longest week of my life, and I'm delighted that it's over. I'm guessing they will seriously rethink having a stand-up comic as part of their lineup. Someone complained to Park Services that the comedian said the words hell and damn on the first day. It was all downhill from there. I'm shocked that I wasn't fired. I'm living the dream, Gregory. So I just wrote back, who's booking that? I wish they filmed that shit. If he filmed 28 shows, film them all and get audience shots and cut that together and put that out as your 1-hour special. That sounds amazing. Couple other messages. Mike Horan said, "Hi, Greg. I know you're not a travel agent, but I heard you recently talk about your son Owen and his trip to Cuba. I've been looking to do this trip, but everything I'm reading says no American credit cards or ATM will work there. Did he just bring wads of hard-earned cash?" So yes, that is exactly what you do, except first you buy euros in the States, and then when you go to Cuba, you trade the euros for the Cuban, I think they're pesos. I think they're specific to Cuba, Cuban pesos. But don't do it in the businesses. Don't do it in the hotels. They whack it with a big premium. You can find people that will trade it on the black market, and you'll get about 20% more on your money. So there's my travel tip. Smoked in it. He brought me back a few cigars. And let me tell you something. I love cigars. These are the best cigars I've ever had in my life. They literally were rolled 3 days before he left the country, right in front of him. And, muy delicioso. One overheard. This is from Jim Dunker in San Diego. Very cloudy evening, standing outside an Irish gift shop in Dublin. A 20-something woman pushing an umbrella stroller says into her phone, "What do you mean she's pregnant? I thought she was going to rehab." I guess maybe rehab is a code word for abortion in Ireland. Rehab that fetus. Can you believe that Ireland now has legal abortion and the United States does not? They finally legalized abortion in Ireland a few years ago. And it was like people couldn't believe it took that long. And now we don't fucking have it. It's fucking crazy. Jesus. Ladies, if you're pregnant, all I can say is get an abortion. This is last call. After this, you can always get pregnant again. You may not be able to get an abortion again. So, see, think about it. Just think about it. Also think about coming out and seeing me do some live comedy. Taking the month of July off. Next month, August 11th, I will be at Jonathan's in Ogunquit, Maine, which is a very gay town. It's like the province town of Maine, and it's a beautiful beach. I'm going to get there a couple days early. I got a friend in Kittery, Maine, who owns a lobster company, my friend Kevin, and I'm going to stay at his house, eat some fresh lobsters, maybe go out on the lobster boat. And the following 2 nights, I'll be in Manchester, New Hampshire, August 12th and 13th at, ready for this? Chunky's Cinema Pub. So that should be fun. Also, dates coming up in the fall. I will be in Lowell, Arizona, September 16 and 17 at the Grove. And then the New Orleans date has been rescheduled. October 6th, I will be at the Howlin' Wolf in New Orleans, and the following night I will be in Lafayette, Louisiana at Club 337. Tickets available at Fitzdog.com. You know how to do it. Also, take care of your mind, folks. Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Listen, take care of your mind. Summer's here. This is a time where you mow your lawn, you get your body in shape to go to the beach. Maybe it's time to talk to somebody. Keep yourself sane. Our brains work like a muscle. They need to be worked out. And so take good care of them. There's a lot of ways to support a healthy brain, learning a new language or taking power naps. There's also BetterHelp online therapy. I have worked with BetterHelp for the last couple of years. I've talked to you guys about it a lot. It has kept me sane through these difficult times. I found somebody, the first try, I found someone I really loved and I've stuck with. If you don't, by the way, BetterHelp is very flexible. You can just immediately cancel and get another therapist like within 48 hours. No harm, no foul. Find the right person for you. But you will find the right person because you fill out a questionnaire and they hone in on what you're looking for and they get an expert in that area, whether it's cognitive behavioral therapy, addiction issues, anxiety, depression, whatever. BetterHelp is an online therapy that offers video, phone, even live chat-only therapy sessions. You don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy. Not even close. It's way more affordable. So our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Fitzdog. That's betterhelp.com/Fitzdog. Do it. Also, another thing that makes you feel real good is the CBD. Everyone's talking about it these days, but not all CBD is created equal. Most people know that it's a great way to help with pain, inflammation, sleep. But you don't want that high associated with its cousin, THC. What you might not realize, not all CBD products are made the same. A lot of them promise that stuff, and the results are not there. Certified Brands Group was founded by scientists that were sick and tired of all the BS CBD products. That's why they decided to create their own brand of products that actually work. Zen Relief and Recovery, and that's XEN. If you have trouble sleeping, try their Trinity Sleep Tincture. I'll tell you something right now. I put these drops in, and 20 minutes later, I am ready for some Z's and some dreams. It combines CBD with CBG and CBN for the best night's sleep you've had in ages. And it contains 0 THC. Certified Brands products are triple tested to ensure purity. What's on the box is what's in the bottle, and it just works. I have a special offer only for Fitzdog listeners. Go to www.tryzen.com. It's with an X, and use code FITZ, F-I-T-Z, for $25 off your order. That's www.tryxen.com. Use promo code FITZ at checkout for $25 off your order. Okay, let's get to it. My guest today is a lovely gentleman and a good friend who I've known for many years, and I absolutely just fucking adore this guy. He is a great comic and also one of the most respected showrunners in Hollywood. He was the showrunner, the executive producer on The Last OG, which was that Tracy Morgan show. He was the EP on Blackish. He was on Larry Wilmore, Arsenio Hall, Whitney. He's performed on Colbert, Conan, all over the place. He's great. We had a really nice time. I have to apologize. The sound is not great. I forgot to put my headphones in, so my microphone is a little muddy, but I don't think it matters. Just picture yourself in the next room eavesdropping on two really fun people. All right, here he is, Owen Smith. Welcome to my guest. I named my son after my guest, Owen Smith. I hope he turns out to be just like you.
Oh, man. So flattered. I was so tickled when you did that, man. I was like, what a great name. The name never sounded cooler than when you told me your son had it. Like, it made all the issues I had growing up in a neighborhood where no one had this name just really melt away.
You were the only Owen?
Only Owen, and it was so bad. in my community, Owen is a last name with the S on it. So every Black person called me Owens.
Oh,
Owens.
yeah.
My whole life. Hey, Owens, or Mr. Owens.
That's hilarious.
And you just like, it's Owen. Can anybody? Does anybody see me? Owen.
Owens is a big name in the Black community. Yeah. Well, you know what else is? It's Simmons. So a lot of times, like if I check into a hotel and the receptionist is Black, they'll always say, I'll go, Greg Fitzsimmons. And then they'll look it up and they go, I don't see a Simmons. Only hear Simmons.
Yeah. Somebody should do a thing where, what do we hear?
Right.
Yeah, I can see that because I would think Fitz was your middle name.
Right.
Or hyphenate name, especially in some Southern markets. I can see them going, yeah, okay, Mr. Simmons. No, we don't have no Simmons. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. You might want to call. Oh, Fitz. Oh, and they still won't say it. Fitz. Okay, all right, Mr. Simmons. To say it under their breath.
Well, because then Fritz is also a first name. People think of Fritz Simmons.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Prince George's County, Maryland. I was born in Nassau, Bahamas.
Right.
And parents split. Mom left my dad when I was 9 months. She likes to say, the first time you flew was first class. So we came. So I'm like 9 months in first class, I don't know. And she comes to Washington, D.C. where her sister staying, and we stayed with my aunt Cicely, called her Aunt Sissy. For like, I don't know how long, I don't want to get that wrong, but like maybe a year or so. And then my mom, she was a single mom before, I like to say before it was popular, not saying that in a negative way, but now everybody's like, so like, I remember when I was single, I was like, everybody got a baby. But back then they could like discriminate on housing and all that. So she found an apartment complex in Prince George's County, Maryland. Well, I didn't know this at the time, but it was basically all single mothers.
Oh no!
And so it was all these boys. Like we all grew up. We would play outside together and all of that stuff. And we
so
all
you were less supervised than other kids.
Absolutely. I was a latchkey kid.
Yeah.
Had to be home, and like my crew would look out for my mom because I'd be outside playing. I wasn't supposed to go outside, but they'd be like, here comes your mother. That's how they say mother in the area. That NETH is with a V. It's one of those things when you watch The Wire, you'll hear he's like, man, they nailed it.
Yeah.
And here come your mother, here come your mother. And I would run in the house and act like I was there the whole time studying, smelling like grass and got my knees all messed up. Hey, Ma, how's that? She just, as long as I was safe, I don't think she really cared. But what
did she do for work?
She worked for the government. It was a fixed economy there. So a lot of people can just work for the government. And each year you get a bump in pay. And she worked for the Department of Interior when I was a kid. And then when I was in high school, she transferred over to the U.S. Marshal Service, the world's oldest police. So she worked over there and had a lot of law enforcement friends, and would tell me years later when I was on the road doing stand-up comedy, she always wanted to know my schedule. And she said she would call ahead and call the federal whatever and say, look out for my son. Basically, don't shoot this black man. He's mine. He's coming to perform in that small town and he will be leaving.
There should be some kind of a code, like you wear a white scarf or something. I know, don't shoot this guy.
I know. She sent him the flyer. This is the show. But that's my mom. I could see her doing something like that. And
so she commuted into downtown DC every day? Every day,
yeah. And we lived right on Pennsylvania Avenue, but when it touched Maryland, so I could see her car go to right into DC, because we were right across the Southeast Washington, DC was where, and was what we touched was, and then she would go into work every day. Sometimes she would catch the train if something was wrong with the car. And then we moved to basically Landover, Maryland. Largo, Maryland is where we were, but that's where the Redskins play football now. They used to play at RFK Stadium.
Did you say Redskins?
I'm sorry. Oops. The Washington, what is it? The Commanders? What is it?
And Commandos. No one knows.
Sorry, guys. Cancel me. So, but that's what we used to call them, and that's what they were. And so we grew up, we moved up there, and then that's when she started working for the Marshal Service. But she always she went to DC for 40 plus years, I would say.
No shit.
Yeah, retired after I graduated from college. A few years after that, she retired and moved back to New Jersey, where she's from. She's from Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah, man. She's from Asbury Park, New Jersey. She's one of 8. And
but what about Aunt Sissy? She left Aunt Sissy behind?
No, took her with her. Yeah, because she got Aunt Sissy to move 2 townhouses down in Maryland, in Largo. Oh, so we were kind of there, and then they both retired. Second mom to you. Yeah, oh yeah. I was raised by a bunch of a village of aunties, as my wife loves to say. Yeah, man. And they taught me how to play basketball, how to fight, how to. So I fight like this. I take my earrings off. And somebody hold this. Nah. I'll be hilarious.
Take off your high heel shoes.
Right. Put these in the car. That'd be hilarious. They taught me everything, man. And then they moved back.
A nice retirement then after all those years.
Oh, she'll tell you about it too. I did well.
Really?
I did very well. Yeah, she'll tell you about it. She wanted to be she was a model, and she wanted to be a fashion designer. She went to the Trepagan School of Fashion for 1 year, but then the family couldn't afford it. So she started working at the phone company. And then she met my father, I think while she was working at the phone. I can't remember the timeline. It's kind of sketchy. But then when they split, she came back and started working for the government.
So you're an only child.
Oh yeah, only child. Have a
man. You spent a lot of time alone then. Yeah, man. With just one parent and no siblings.
No siblings, but here's the thing: in the apartment complex we grew up in, there were so many kids my age.
Yeah,
and each floor was 4 apartments, right? I was here, and my best friend growing up, his name is Alfred Antonio Duncan, but we called him Boo. Because they said when he was born, he was so black, he looked like the sound a ghost made. That's what his sister said. So we called him Boo. And he was my best friend. And so he would always spend the night, or I would spend the night, and we would hang out. So he was like a brother that I didn't know I was by myself. You know what I mean? Like when we went outside to play, it was always a group of kids. So you just kind of folded in.
Do you know how many kids today are so fucking jealous that we live like that? I mean, I didn't live like that, but I did. I left the house in the morning on a bike and I came home for dinner. And wow. Kids today, even in towns where it is more rural, people are so freaked out. They're so scared by the media that there's child molesters out there. There's no more child molesters than there ever was.
They were still out there.
They're still out there. If they want to molest your kid, they're going to molest your kid. They'll find a way.
We were so deep, though. We would whoop their ass, man.
Yeah.
Somebody touched you. We'd be like, yo, this man over here touching. Everybody be, who, yeah?
You would call them out.
We called out. Yeah, we were just moved as a pack, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, that wouldn't have flown.
Unmolestables.
We also would have, if somebody just looked out, so we would gather around and talk about, heckle them, yo, what's this dude doing over here? Yo, where you from, man? You know, with your dumb outfit. We would all, just kind of key in on that strange presence.
Right.
To embarrass them, whatever they were trying to do, they weren't going to do it over here.
Right.
We were kind of so it might have saved a lot of us from whoever was trying to do something.
Right.
Yeah, man.
The cute one. They say you saved the good-looking one among you. was beautiful. That's the thing about being molested is like, that guy had choices.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That guy is hilarious. Well, for us, a lot of us, we weren't molested by other dudes. They were like we all had sex young, but we didn't know we were being molested. We thought we were winning. We were like, yeah. And it was like, oh, she shouldn't have been doing that.
Oh, so these were women in like their 20s were having sex with you when
not
you were
20s, not that old, but it would be like, they'd just be older. Like if, for me, my mom took me she used to drop me off at this babysitter, and the daughter slept with a bunch of the boys there. So she was like 4 years older. But we all were like, yo, I'm having sex with this girl. Like we didn't know.
So how old were you?
Wrong. I was probably 9, 10.
No.
Yeah, 9, 10, having sex with this girl.
No shit.
And she was probably 14.
Did you even hit puberty at that age? You wouldn't even hit puberty.
Nah, I might be I was either 9, 10, or 11. I gotta look like in my yearbook and find like when I was there. But it was the first secret I knew not to tell my mom. Damn. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew it would like crush her.
Right.
And I literally didn't know that because I was with a cluster of boys that they were all doing it with her. So,
right.
I mean, she initiated it with all of us. We didn't come there seeking. We were like, what's happening? What's going on?
Right.
And so that was like the first thing I ever like kept from my mom. So like now that I have a son, I don't want him to do that, Right. And, right now, he tells me everything. He's going to tell either me or my wife. So I hope that we can foster a space where he can keep doing that. But I just knew not to say something. And I told my mom like recently out of anger, because when we had our child and I was asking her questions about stuff, because my mom did an amazing job raising me, and I'm extremely grateful, but I did find the courage to tell her, and it was something I didn't think I would talk about till she passed away, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want her being embarrassed. Right. But she really didn't know. And so,
do you think that affected you in terms of being a victim?
Oh, yeah.
You were a victim.
Oh yeah. That's why I'm in Hollywood, baby. That's where we all end up. I knew I was going to be in showbiz. Nah.
I can either sit alone in a room with a therapist and talk about this shit, or I can get on stage. I can
get on stage, baby. I think it was, it affected me with like intimacy. It affected me with when I was in high school, just how to like approach a woman and do the whole courting. I was a late bloomer in that because my first experience, I was approached, you know what I mean? I was approached.
Right.
In knowing like, why do I like this person? Like all that stuff was weird because how I was just ushered into it was just this, we got to the end first, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that was a weird thing, but I think what helped me was going into acting and like really like having to dissect and like learn yourself. Because most people don't have time to ask these questions and to like research all this stuff. So that really kind of helped me reset and just be okay with it because it wasn't my fault. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I guess when I felt like despair or just like sad or hurt about it was when that woman like I guess would see me on TV and then try to like friend me on Facebook.
Oh, she did.
And I was just like, oh, nah. And I didn't have the Antoine Fisher moment where I went up to her and said, you know what you did to me, because I'm guessing, but I believe that was done. You know what I'm saying? Like you just passed that pathology on.
Right.
I don't think she woke up one morning and decided she was going to do that.
No, there's no doubt. It was the first thing I thought of when you said it, is she was probably a victim herself.
Yeah. And so it's just like, just me, like, so I absolutely, I think like definitely like in my young 20s, dating and all that, that kind of stuff affected me, and I had to work through those issues before I was ready to be somebody's husband.
But that's the amazing thing about our generation, is that cycles have been broken. You know, I mean, in my case, like my father, my grandparents, my great grandparents were all bad alcoholics.
Yeah.
And I quit drinking at a young age. And, you know, in your case, like, here you are happily married. And I know you're happily married. I hear you talk about your wife. I know your wife, and you guys are beautiful together. And it's like, you know, when you despair about the world and you look at all the political shit that's going wrong and all that, you can also, you got to take a breath and look on a more personal level. I think a lot of people are making progress. A lot of people are in therapy, and they're taking apart their feelings, and they're growing from it, and they're not passing it on to their children.
Absolutely. And just becoming more self-aware. Me and Dwayne Perkins used to talk in depth about this in our late 20s, early 30s, because we were both like, I think Dwayne was also immersed in acting classes and stuff. And we always had trouble with our dating pool because we were learning so much about ourselves and what our triggers are and why we are, you know, and just getting to a place. For me, my journey was just getting to a place of acceptance and no judgment, right? Like, that's what kind of like what makes the world fun, is all these people have these different things, and it's not on me to police that. It's just like on me to just be aware of it and go, all right, this is what it is. Right. But we were going through a phase where we were dating some people who we saw a life for ourselves, like none of these things would ever be discussed because it's uncomfortable. And we would have a family with these people. And then you look up 30 years later and go, I don't like you, you know, or they would realize, you know, I'm not happy. And I want to just like, ooh, you know, and so it was just an amazing like period in our lives, because we felt like, are we doing too much work on ourselves where we're not going to be like available? Like, because we would sit across from somebody and, you know, they start talking and you just like, I remember one time I gave a woman a book to read. She was complaining about all these things. And I just read this book, The 4 Agreements, which I still say those 4 things before I touch the stage all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, what are the 4 Agreements? I've heard that book is amazing.
Yeah, it was written by, it's an easy read. The first part is a little tricky because he's talking about, if I remember correctly, he's talking about life being a part of a dream. It was 2 books of his that I read that kind of changed my life, right? The 4 Agreements changed my life because it was just 4 simple agreements. Always be impeccable with your word, which I had to really like look up. I knew what impeccable meant, but I was like, what does he mean? But basically, say what you mean what you say. That's kind of how I've always been, because my memory's not that great. So I can't like lie about something, and I'm a teller myself. Right. So I have to just say what I mean and mean what I say. The second one, which was the most powerful one, especially for somebody like for me, was don't take anything personally. And that's easy on its face. And I've heard like Chappelle say and Maya Angelou, they did a thing where she said, don't pick it up and don't put it down. But it's basically like if someone says they like you or someone says they hate you, that's coming from their own journey. So it has nothing to do with you. And so that helped me when I was like auditioning. If they was like, his nose is weird or his forehead is too big or whatever, I'm like, that's your shit. Like, it just helped me be like, all right, whatever, what's next? Or if I'm, you know, doing stand-up, it just helped me just move through life, because I suffered from please like me disease, like nobody's business.
Well, I think most comics do. Yeah. I mean, that's huge in stand-up to let go of that.
Absolutely. And then the third one that really helped me almost as equally as don't take anything personally is never assume anything. And we almost use that in all of our things. I assume, but I used that for business at first, because, you know, we both were with the same college agent back in the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Shooter, baby.
Yeah. Bad Shooter. Before that, Ross Ario.
Yeah.
And a lot of assumptions were made on my early showbiz, you know, dealings. And then also just like with just friendships, you know, just, and then also like trying
what assumptions do you feel like you were making early on?
But in business or in personal?
Like with Ario
okay. So like, I think up front, he was taking 20% of gross of everything.
Yeah.
And I felt like that felt a bit steep, but I didn't ask extra questions as to like, are there any other percentages, or why is this happening? Or is that what everyone else is getting? Or I just assumed that was the natural thing. Then as I started doing colleges, which I was grateful for them to take me on, I came across someone else that said, no, they should be paying you net. You should be paying your commission off your, and you should only be paying like 15% net or something like that. So I went back to Ross, and it was like, at that time, it was the scariest thing I'd ever done. Because to me, he was this confident man. I met him when I think he just finished going through this divorce. I had never seen like anybody, post divorce, like a man, you know what I mean? Like so I had a meeting with him, and I was like, hey man, I'd like to renegotiate. I didn't know what I was doing. But I was like, is there a way we can do 20% net? I think is what I asked for. And he leaned into me, and he said in his deep voice, he goes, who have you been talking to? And I just held my ground, and he was like, yeah, we could do it. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But, and then when we went to Bass Schuler, I think I got them down to 15% net because the rental car and all of that stuff. And I didn't like press it like anymore, but that was a business assumption. Right. And it just in personal life, just like, when people go, hey man, come to this party with me or whatever. And you just assume, or even for shows, like if people call you for one night, it's, hey, come to this spot, it's always packed. You assume it's going to be packed. You get there, it's 3 people, just that kind of stuff. So if I get into a situation where I'm not happy and I think, oh shit, I assumed, I was like, this is on me. Right. But if I just ask that extra question, and then it's also about like trying to find the language to ask those questions when you don't put off the other person. Right. So those were like,
that's funny because I remember like I had a gig in town, and it was like a low money thing. And I was out of town at the last minute. I called you to do it. And I remember you had a couple questions about the gig, and I was like, I didn't resent it, but I was like, that is unusual that a comic actually does some research about some shitty $100 gig that you're doing in town, Yeah. I respected that.
Thanks, man. And I just want, it's just something I try to make as a practice. And so whenever I hear my wife say I assumed or so-and-so I assumed, I'm just like, I was like, man, I could have been avoided, or it could have been flagged, or we could have talked about it. And that's not like saying my wife always assumes, but I just, when I hear someone say that, because it's a part of our vernacular, I assumed you would do that. And, right. And so they talk
on the other side of that, we're afraid to ask those questions or to follow up because we feel like we don't deserve it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For me, I just like, if it's for a gig, I want to be my best self. Yeah. At the gig. And so I don't want to, and I've done so many because I used to work both black and white rooms when I was in Chicago because comedy was kind of segregated like that there. And in the black rooms, I just always made a lot of assumptions just because I just wanted to be a part of that community. I didn't want to just be he only worked white room comics. Yeah. And some of the shows would go great. And some of the shows I was like, I knew it was going to be like this. But with especially you got to shake down sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Or sometimes just stuff like that. So I took each experience as just a lesson, like, all right, okay. So, And so sometimes I can smell if it's going to be shitty, but I'll tell my wife, I just want to see if I'm right. And then I would go and I was like, oh yeah, it hasn't changed, but I'm still, but I can still have fun on stage. I'm protecting my art by just like not letting that, like, I'm not bringing that to the stage. I already kind of just got that out the way so I can just give the people what they want to see and I'm out. And that's just a side thing. So for me, that's just how I cope with it. And then the last one is always do your best. It's like a simple thing, but I always kind of operated under that mantra. Like when it came for like, I remember like, if I give you a gift and you don't give me anything in return, some people get upset about that. Like if I give you a gift for your birthday, it's my birthday, some people get upset, but I'm like, no, it was a gift. Like that's what a gift is. I gave that to you because I wanted you to have this gift. If you don't give, this isn't what do you call it? This isn't a transaction, It's a gift. And so emotionally, I'm doing the best. I'm doing my best. I'm telling you how I feel. If you aren't in that space to reciprocate that the way I wanted you to do it, then either I can choose to be quiet about it, or I can say, hey man, that kind of hurt my feelings when you did. And then you can risk people going, man, he old bitch over here crying about a gift, whatever. Like it's all, but for me, I did my best. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I always try to do that with like every job I took. I wouldn't take jobs if I didn't feel like if I could do my best. Every relationship, just I try because I feel like someone will see you doing your best, and that might not be the job or the thing for you, but you'll end up getting, where you're supposed to be because you showed up and you did
quality,
your best.
The quality of your character is intact no matter no matter what the context of the circumstance, it's still right. It's funny when I was coming out, I was working in fucking New Jersey at some hell gig, and it was a late show Friday, and it was a bunch of drunks, and it was the week between Christmas and New Year's, which, as you know, is the worst week to do that.
Yes.
So I'm in this room, and it's in a hotel, and I get on stage, and I fucking bring it because to me, I'm a headliner. I'm excited. I'm headlining. I hadn't been headlining for that long, and every show was magic, and every show was meaningful, and every show I had a responsibility. I wanted to live up to my expectation. Anyway, so I did a strong show. Well, guess who's in the audience that night?
Oh.
The head of development for CBS.
Wow, look at that.
Calls me in for a meeting, and I got a big money deal for a sitcom idea.
Always doing your best, baby.
Always doing your best, baby.
That's it, man. That's how you do it. It's like, I can't tell you how many times. And I reached a little rut too where my wife had to remind me of that. Because you don't always walk with that. But my wife was like, hey, show me this beautiful thing. She was like, you never know what the audience is going through. It could be somebody in the audience with 8 kids and they just need to laugh. Whether or not if it's 8 people there or whatever, you gotta do your show.
Right.
And I was like, oh, you're right. And I remember I went to the Improv, and it was like a light show, and I just did my show. And it was something like that. Somebody was in the audience, and it ended up. I was like, man, I'm glad I did that show. I'm glad it's.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me of, you constantly get these constant reminders, like just what you love, what I love about like this art form, and like when you decide to do it, it doesn't matter what the environment is. It can affect whoever is there, and it can be fun. And
no, it's like I can remember you for a long time. I don't know if you still do it, but you used to go on stage every single time with that big fucking bulky Tascam recorder with a lavalier microphone on your collar.
Yes.
I was like, look at this guy. He's a work in progress.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I've always wanted to record. So it was always my dream to I wanted, how Beyonce does those live. Well, I don't know if she started it because I know Weird Al used to do them and all these, but she kind of made it the most popular. She did these live albums. So it's kind of like, because you remember a song when you see the video. And I'd always wanted to do another album. So I started recording myself to do this album, but I could never really just finish the album. But I would always listen to my material, and it would always make me a little better. I go, oh man, this is cool too. So I just started using it to listen to my act. I go, because I can't, being in LA, I don't get as many reps in as I did when I lived in New York.
Yeah.
And so one of these days, I'm gonna put out this album that I've been wanting to do for a long time, man.
What do you have? 2 specials you put out?
Yeah. Self-produced 2 specials.
Uh-huh.
I also have a dream. I want somebody to pay for a special.
Yeah, well, that's not happening. That
people see, not anymore. Yeah. I did one special where I can tell you this story. This is an interesting story. So I did Premium Blend in 2003 is when it aired, January 2003. I did Montreal New Faces in 2002, did Premium Blend 2003. All my peers from that section, they had gotten Comedy Central half hours, or a lot of them, and I hadn't gotten one. And I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know I was supposed to ask one. I didn't know. I thought, no one was telling me how. So I made a lot of assumptions, right? And so then George Carlin is preparing for what will be his last special at Hermosa. And I go down and check it out because I'm a student of comedy. And Kimber Rickenbaugh was there, one of the producers from Rick Mill Productions, who did Premium Blend.
Yeah, special. Yeah.
Yeah. She was producing Carlin's special. So she walks over to me while Carlin is on stage. Like, I'm watching. She goes, "Why don't we have a half hour on you?" I was like, "I've been thinking that. I don't know." She goes, "Just give me 21 minutes and we'll see." I don't know if she said we'll make it happen, but and Rich is standing next to me, the guy who books Comedy and Magic. I go, "Can I get 21 minutes?" He was like, "I can't give you 21 minutes. I can give you 7. I was like, 7? No, but you just heard her. He goes, "I heard her." But so that's that whole lesson, like, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I went all across town trying to get a 21-minute set. No one would give me a 21-minute set. Uh-huh. So I booked a headlining gig at Zany's in Chicago. I fly to Chicago, take my 45-minute set, cut it down to 21 minutes. So I know how to edit and all that. At the time, I'm working on Everybody Hates Chris, doing Chris Rock's off-camera voiceover for the actors, and doing punch-up writing for it. And 3 Arts represented Chris at the time. So I thought, maybe I can use this ask from Kimber to like leverage a relationship with 3 Arts. Yeah. So I go up to Dave Becky and Michael Rotenberg. Well, Ali Leroy made the introduction. I say, "Hey man, Kimber Rickenbaugh told me give her 21 minutes to get a half hour. I'm wondering if I can give the half hour to you and you can send it in. Maybe this could, huh?" And he was like, "Say no more. We represent Kimber. Done deal." So nice. So that night I catch the red eye to Iowa. I had a college gig in Iowa. The next morning, when I wake up, I get a phone call from 3 Arts and I'm all corny. I go, "Huh? This is going to be the beginning of a lot of these," And he goes, "I just spoke with Kimber. She said she never heard of you."
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, B. And I'm like, huh? Like, I don't know what to say. I think she's on the line and y'all pranking me. "Hi, come on, man." "No, she said she's never heard of you. Good luck, buddy." So hangs up. I feel like trash. I don't know what to do. Then I get a call from Chris Schuler. And he says, "Yo, buddy, we never finalized that gig in Iowa. You don't have a gig in Iowa." So now I spend the night in Iowa with nothing. Ames, Iowa, bub. I'm there in this Holiday Inn hotel. Then I come back to work on Monday, seething. Like Did you even record the set in Chicago? Yeah, I had the 21 minutes. Oh yeah, absolutely. I still have it. It's a good set. And I send it to, I don't send it to anybody, but I'm on set and I'm telling Ali what happened. And I'm just telling everyone who was like a bunch of comedians, and comedians love to complain. So I was having my woe is me moment. And then I was going to let it go. But Ernest Thomas hears me complaining with Ali. And Ali's always been like a great champion for, letting me get stuff off because he was a comedian. So he understands. And so he's a great comedian. If people don't know who he is. Fantastic. Yeah. He co-created that show. Everybody Hates Chris. Yeah. Yeah. He wrote on SNL and he's legendary. Wrote a lot for Chris Rock, wrote a lot for Bernie Mac. And he And so he let me get it off my chest while we're taping a TV show. Like between every break, he would be like, these motherfuckers, man. Like he would just go, he would say what I couldn't say. It was great. So then Ernest Thomas pulls me aside and he says to me, hey man, I heard you guys talking. And he goes, I just want to tell you, never wait on, how do you say it? Because I put it in my special. He goes, don't wait on Hollywood to give you permission to be great. And I was like, what? He said, don't wait on Hollywood to give you permission to be great. If you think you should have a special, then make it happen. Don't wait on them because they always, they don't always pick right, something like that. Right. And it was just like a genuine thing. And then he told me like these other amazing stories about his, because he's been in one of the best gifts of working on that show is I got to work with people who had been dancing with Hollywood for 30 plus years. So they all had this like, they all went through their young, crazy, I'm making it, fuck the world days. And then, now they're in a space of just appreciation and grace. And they see like these young kids, you know what I mean? So the knowledge I got from Whoopi Goldberg, the knowledge I got from Ernest Thomas, the knowledge I got from Jack A. Harry, the knowledge I got from like all of these people that I used to see in the magazines I consumed and all, it was just invaluable. They were all just so generous spirits and just like, so I try to pay that forward whenever I'm talking to younger people that I can see that ambition in their eyes and they get angry over the way the business is treating them and just try to put it in perspective for them. And so what happened with the special? Yeah. So I'm telling you, so this is what happens. So I take each week we got a guest director. All those directors, any director that directed like a comedy special from Chris Rock, I took them to lunch. Any of them that I saw directed a comedy special, I took them to lunch. And I picked their brains on how to shoot a comedy special. So
Stan Latham? Stan Latham?
Stan didn't come, but it was Keith Truesdale who did Bring the Pain. Yeah. It was I always forget her name. She was amazing. She did Patrice O'Neal's. She did the half hours for HBO. I interviewed like maybe, I want to say eight directors who did comedy specials that like changed my life, right? And I was getting all these pointers and and I felt confident that I could do this. I asked one guy, Ken Whittingham, if he would direct my comedy special. He said yes. And I got like all these people on Everybody's Chris team to say they would come work it, So I had my budget at like $40,000.
That was your money coming out of your pocket?
Coming out of my pocket. Now I had just done a NACA Nationals where I booked over 150 schools.
Damn.
Joke that Bad Shooter told me not to do, but I had been doing the colleges. I knew the kids would love it. And I was like, I'm gonna go for it. So I did this joke and it destroyed. And when NACA sent me the setback, they cut out the joke. And because when I tell you, Chris and Scott were red because they said, we told you not to do that joke. They thought it was going to be the end of my NACA career. The line was around the booth because the kids were like, finally, somebody. So I figured out, I had done so many colleges, like, oh, this is going to be fine.
Wait, what was the joke?
Oh, the joke was Kobe it was the Denver stuff. And I was just talking about how corporations ran, right? I said, they paid him $30 million. I said, because I said, Gatorade. I said, Gatorade dropped Kobe. And I said, that's kind of funny because their slogan was like, is it in you? Because he just got accused of it. But I go, Sprite dropped Kobe. Sprite paid Kobe $30 million just to go, then I burp. I go, for $30 million, I would drink my own cum. Like that. And then I say, I know women out there who have done it for far less.
Dude, that is not NACA material.
Not NACA material, but when I tell you, like Bill Bellamy does to say, pandemonium. It was crazy. Yeah. I forgot I had like all these tags on it. I stayed in it for a minute. If I find something.
Right.
And then I got out of it and I did my other stuff, ended on my tanning salon bid or whatever was happening at the time. and then booked over 150 schools. So I took all that money, and instead of buying a house or the 4-unit I was staying in, which looking at it back, I probably should have done that, is I had this money that I was going to shoot a comedy special with. And all this happened around the same time Ernest Thomas said, don't wait on Hollywood to give you permission to be great. So I budgeted out with about, and I got the detailed stuff. I did the spreadsheets, all that stuff. It was about $45,000 I was going to shoot this special. And I was going to shoot it in South Bend, Indiana, because in every room I was in, they always said the Midwest didn't get it, right? And I was like, I'm going to show them the Midwest gets it, you know? So I book a spot in South Bend. Ken Whittingham is on the direct, all this stuff. And then Ken calls me and says, I can't do it direct. I got like a 30 Rock or something. I was like, well, what do I do? He goes, but I'm going to recommend this other person. And I'm not going to say that guy's name, but I meet with that guy and he seemed cool. I was like, all right. I said, I already have all this stuff in motion. He came to watch my set. I gave him a thing in my set. I said, I have this team. And so he goes, I don't work with people I don't know. So I'm like, oh, yeah. But I already have commitments. I bought like radio ads, all this stuff. Da, 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 da. This dude triples my budget. Yeah. So now I'm over 100K. I'm at like 120K. Yeah. Going crazy, right? He says we need to take a scouting trip, which was a good idea. We take a scouting trip. We see how we're going to decorate the room. Da, da, da. It looks beautiful. Terry Crews flies in off his own dime and introduces me. No. First and second show. Yeah. And because this is when Cat Williams had just come out and Anthony Anderson introduced him. So Terry Crews flew and introduces me. First show, maybe 100 people come. Oh, yeah. So I tell the director. How big's the theater? It held maybe 1,100 people.
And you only had 100.
I only had 100. So I told the director, I said, hey, let's keep every camera on me the way Cosby did himself. You don't see the audience, right? And I said, don't shoot any empty chairs. Just shoot, thing on me. And when I tell you I knew this set, man, I'm doing my thing. Oh, and another thing, when we get on the plane to fly to South Bend, this director comes over to me and says, the DP I made you hire, he can't make the gig. I found out later the DP took another gig, right? Yeah. So this is all a part of it. So I get there. I am performing my special in front of 4 cameramen who have never seen me before. Okay. And so, but do the first show. The whole town is texting, whatever. This guy's funny. Second show sold out. Bow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Terry Crews comes in, does his thing. We do the whole da-da-da-da. Set is amazing. I'm feeling on cloud 9. And my goal was to license it or sell it somewhere, and then to be able to do more comedy specials for other comedians. I just felt like the landscape was getting homogenized, where it's like, stand on this X. We just put your name back here and, see what happens. But I don't think a lot of people, they weren't getting audiences from their specials, Right. And so that was my dream at that time. Get this, and the guy, the director, when I see the footage, this guy, the medium wide, this guy, the cow, that shot, where every punchline and every special is this one. Yeah. Soft focus. No. Both shows. No. Soft focus means blurry. Yep. Yeah. A piece of my hair fell out. I'm still bald, like right here from the stress of this, yo. But the only cameraman that was on his money was the guy on my left shoulder, which is probably gonna look like your right shoulder and on my left shoulder, he was on his money. So when you watch the special, all the punchlines are on this shot, which is not how we're conditioned to watching specials. Right. So I was like, maybe I could sell it like it's avant-garde and maybe somebody rock with, but I'm sick. I already know, like, it's going to be just tough being an outsider, not having a big anything behind me. But this one guy who had never made a sale in stand-up comedy, he had done some reality stuff. He goes, let me take this out. Like but he was with me. He was like the line producer. He was with me the whole step. So I said, hey man, do your thing. Comedy Central said no, and he told me they were mean about it. He said Showtime said no. He said they wanted it to look bigger, which is a great way, because if it would look bigger, they'd be like, we want to do more intimate. That was a nice way for them to say
yeah,
no.
exactly, right.
He said the HBO guy said, hey, I watched it. It made me laugh, but I didn't. I wasn't sure, so I had my entire staff watch it. He said they were cracking up. He said, but the reason why I'm saying no is because we already have Cat Williams, and we just don't know how to sell this guy. Because I wasn't doing what Cat Williams was doing. Cat Williams was small, he has a funny voice, and he's giving like, live your life, boo-boo. And he had the whole pimp persona, and I'm just talking.
It has nothing to do with Cat Williams, other than black.
Right, but it's a different kind of thing that HBO, they would like, their sales scene was like, who do we sell this guy to? And I'm like, it made you laugh. Like, that should be enough.
Yeah.
So they gave the nicest no, is what I was told. And so nobody bought it. And so now I'm selling it out of my trunk, right? Literally at gigs, and like a couple of years go by, and I do a show, and Russell Peters sees me. I never met him before. He goes, hey man, you want to go on the road with me for like doing a 6-week run? I was like, yeah, I ain't doing shit, And so I go on the road with Russell. The last stop on the tour was Radio City Music Hall.
And when you tour with Russell, you're playing, you're going around the world, right?
I didn't do the world stuff. We just basically did Florida and I think another city, I can't remember, and then Radio City.
Yeah.
And so, you just walk out, do your thing, boom, boom, boom. When we did Radio City, it was packed. We did 2 shows. My whole family came to that one. When I tell you, I destroyed that shit. Like, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Sitting next to my mom, which I didn't know, but sitting next to my mom was the program director for Sirius XM Radio.
Okay.
He runs up to me and he goes, that was incredible. Do you have anything? I was like, I got this DVD. I don't know. He goes, this is great. He takes the DVD on his own accord. He cuts it up and puts it up on Sirius from to play the audio stuff. Yeah. And people are sending me pictures of it, coming in through there. But satellite radio wasn't really like, it was bubbling, but it wasn't what it is right now. And so I signed up. I don't know how I heard about Sound Exchange, but I signed up for Sound Exchange. And because I was both the producer and the artist, I got 100% of royalties. So maybe 2 years go by or whatever it is, and I get a check for $55,000.
Nice.
And they go, this is from Anonymous. I go, oh shit. Then the next year I get a check for like 35. Yeah. And the next year I get one for 30. So I broke even is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like it was like this hard like journey, but like all the money I lost, I made it back.
Right.
And it just let me know, man, keep creating. So then that's what inspired me to do my next special when I shot it all on iPhones. I bought 10 iPhones, carefully unpacked them. Where I messed up is I wish I recorded like what we did, but I felt like it was, I don't know, it just felt, so we unpacked them, shot the special, repacked, cleaned them, erased them, repacked them, and I returned every iPhone.
You did?
Oh yeah. And I recorded the return.
Awesome.
And so that's what's online right now. Good luck, everybody. You can check that out on YouTube.
And who shot them? Who was holding the camera?
Oh, I just hired little improv cats to hold them on monopods. And then I also had a few of those walking rigs that you can put, so I paid them like $100 to, capture both shows. And then we set some cameras up. We set them like everywhere to capture one behind me, which is a great shot and all that stuff. And it looked great. We lit the room right. It was fantastic. And so,
wow, that's awesome. Wait, so as far as the half hour though, didn't you end up doing?
Never.
You never did a half hour special?
Never, but love to.
You did Premium Blend a few times then.
I only did Premium Blend once. Only did Conan once.
The Comedy Central gives you no love.
They gave me no love, man. And but then years later, I ended up working as a writer for them on the Larry Wilmore show.
Yeah.
And they brought me in a room like, what do you want to do? And I just didn't trust them. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I didn't. I felt like if I did a special with them at that point, like they were kind of, no one was really like trusting them with that, you know.
Yeah. Well, now there's so many paths. You don't need. I mean, God bless Comedy Central. They've been pretty good to me over the years and all that. But like the truth is now, what you can do with a podcast and what you can do with putting a special like that special now, you know, if you put it on is it on YouTube?
The second one is Good Luck Everybody. I took down Anonymous. The first one was called Anonymous. I had this joke. I watched the opener recently because I saw a comedian do some stuff that I was doing back then. And I was like, oh man. So I just wanted to make sure I wasn't tripping, but yeah. But I had this joke I was so proud of where I said, I've been doing comedy for, at the time, 13 years and I'm still anonymous. Well, nobody know who I am. So I'm going to do something dangerous. I'm going to do something daring. I'm going to do something no black dude in showbiz is doing right now. I said, I'm going to date a black girl. I was so proud of that joke. Said, might even marry her, treat her right and everything. I was so happy at that joke, man. That's what I opened the special with. And you could see everybody cracking up because it was like a thing. It was like, I felt like that was like the best way to kind of say it without, chastising cats who made that choice. Love is love, you know.
Right.
I mean, I got a white stepmom. My pops went that way. It's not, I didn't want the joke to be about that, but I was like, my whole point was if I show up I notice when I show up with a black girl, people look at her the way they used to look at brothers when they showed up with a white girl.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing that? So that was like the nuance that I opened the special with. And
were you with your wife at that point?
Oh no, but I had met her. I knew that I wanted.
She was the one.
Yeah, but I knew I wasn't like in the space to close that deal the way I wanted to. So, but yeah, I absolutely knew her. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you know who I was talking to Joe. I saw Joe Rogan last weekend, and he brought you up. He brought you up as the guy that he thinks should be huge right now. And but he said, I think he said like that splitting your time between writing on shows and doing stand-up has held you back somewhat because obviously you're not on the road as much as you would be.
Absolutely. So
where's your headspace at right now in terms of writing versus doing stand-up?
Man, that's a great question. I feel like because I have 2 young children, I'll put it to you like this. Oh man, I hope this doesn't come out the wrong way. But so I've always been a huge fan of Dick Gregory, right?
Yeah.
Met him a few times. Watched this documentary. I think he has 10 children, if not more. And I don't know if it worked out like this because of scheduling or whatever. I'm just watching what was presented in this documentary. They talked about all the amazing things this man did and all the amazing things he tried to knock out and shine a light to: obesity, racism, poverty, racial inequality, like how he did it comedically and as an activist. He was never home. His wife Lillian raised the children, but he would come home and, that's Dick Gregory. I mean, the amount of knowledge this man had about everything, it's like, man, that's my dad. Like, imagine. But when they did this documentary, only one of his kids showed up.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. And my wife grabbed my hand when we saw that. And it was like, I think another one called him on the phone and they might've had a third one, but he had 10.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, damn, racism is still here. Obesity is still here. World hunger is still here. But if your kids don't show up for your documentary about your own life, it just made me like realize what my values were. Because when me and my wife first got married, someone asked us the thing, what do you value? And I was like, no one's ever asked me that before. Like, I never even thought of that. So when I did The Last OG, I show ran The Last OG, I had to go to New York for 3 months and shoot, produce the show. And because of COVID, my family couldn't come with me. And so it was the first time I was away from home for 3 straight months, but I got to come back for 1 day. And when I got back, whenever I left a room, my son thought I was gone. Like, he was like, Daddy, like just that kind of thing. And I was like, damn. So I need for them to either be older where they understand why Daddy is gone, even though they may not like it. But I also would love to get to a place to where I can just take them with me. You know what I mean? Right. Because stand-up is still my North Star. It's my drive. It's my everything. But I have a new everything. You know what I mean? Right. And I am so grateful for Joe, because Joe, another thing you don't know, because one of the things that scared me about getting married was that when it was just me, I could just move how I felt like moving. Right. But now you got to get everybody on board, and just developing that skill set is like an ongoing journey. And so I did Joe Rogan's podcast, and I did a thing where I said to his fans, hey, you may not know, if you don't know me, text your text. I had a cell phone thing, this thing called Superphone. I don't have it now, but it was like text, go to textowen.com and put in your info, and it'll send you a set of mine. If you like it, or I got whatever, I end up getting like 40,000 emails and cell phone numbers that I can communicate with. Yeah. So and you could geotag. I go, oh man, I got 2,500 people in Pasadena. So I called the Ice House. I go, hey man, can I get a Thursday? And then, and I was just going to learn how to like send funny, like Louie CK type emails to people, and just try to see if I can like start doing this. And I had to convince my wife that this would be good. And once she saw it, we were lucky enough to get the owner of the company, Ryan Leslie, to like walk us through how he sells out places. And we were just very encouraged to do this. So we get the Ice House, we get La Jolla, and we were looking at other spots to just start doing this. Cause like, man, if I could make XYZ amount in town, that could be great. Right. And we can expand it, and let's just gradually and see. Then COVID happened. all those days, of course, go away. But now I'm housing 40,000, and it grew. And I have to pay like, I don't know, it's like 2,500, 3,000 a month, money going out and no money coming in.
You got to pay 2,500 a month to have that service?
To have because I had so many. Like if I only had like 500, it'd be nothing. But because I had so many and they were always interacting, you gotta pay for that. But if I was booking gigs, it would pay for itself, right? Like one gig would pay for a year. 1 or 2 gigs would pay for a year of that if I, as I built it. Yeah. And so that COVID just made us like look at it like, shoot, that option is kind of tabled for now. And then the Last OG opportunity came up where I got to be a showrunner, and I got to be home every night, and I got to create this great art with Tracy Morgan. And I got to, but when I got to New York, I got to go up a lot more. I guess if I can get to a place where I can sell hard tickets, then it will make more sense. But I can't do the show up and whoever is there is just there, and hopefully there'll be more people next time. Like, I just don't have that luxury to do that. Right now. And that was like a hard, like, truth to admit to myself, like, damn, along my journey. So I tell these young cats, I go, why you doing these Netflix things and why you getting tapped to do all these little shows? First, you have to ask yourself what you want. But what's going to make you be able to say no to a lot of things is everything you do should be geared to you figuring out how to sell hard tickets to your show. That's something nobody ever told me, because I never wanted to be famous. I just wanted to be good and respected. And I feel like I have that. Yeah. But I thought that would get you to where you can also sell hard tickets. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. And so I didn't want to do, so I don't argue with Joe at all. And I was so like flattered that he found me funny. Like one of my favorite things in comedy is his laugh. Like when he would do his show and rip and then he would stick around and watch me and I'd hear him, he has no idea how much like that energizes me. And then he used to talk to me about how I should be. And I would tell my wife and it would get us kind of, cause I kind of just felt like I was just going to be one of these old guys that had a good swing. And, but he got me thinking about it again. And I've never stopped thinking about it. But, right now, the only thing that gives me anxiety, honestly, is just being away. That's why I said if I could do a podcast and set it up, you know what I'm saying? And kind of like take my family on this journey. Like, all right, daddy's going to go out for this amount. Mm-hmm. This is going to pay for private school. This is going to pay for, because I would feel, I don't know, but I would feel great if comedy paid for all those things. But the writing has, knock on wood, has been able to, pay for some of these things.
Yeah. I mean, I split the difference myself. I've spent the last 21 year. My son's 21. I started writing 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I spent the first year on the road and I missed them. And I just was like, and me and my wife sat down and she's like, this isn't really working. Yeah. And so I called Louie C.K. and he was writing on Cedric the Entertainer Show at the time. And I go, Louie, you got to get me in over there, man. And he goes, so he set up a meeting with Cedric on Monday. I sat down with him. They happened to be hiring somebody for monologues. I got the job. And then I've spent the last 20 years pretty much like 50-50 writing and going on the road. And it's worked out, but it's also been like, you wonder if I just picked one direction and I put everything into that, would I be at a certain level? Yeah. But then I say, but I got a great family that loves me. And part of me being a good father and a good husband is that I get to do that joy, that thing that I have a gift for stand-up comedy. And it's very rare in life to have a gift and to recognize it and to be recognized for it. And to completely stop doing that and only write would smother me. And I don't think I would be the same father and husband that I am.
Absolutely.
So I think one feeds the other.
Yeah, they absolutely feed the other. And also it's something like to what you just said about your family. It's like through my 20s and my 30s, I was chasing approval and adulation from strangers.
Right.
But there is nothing better for me than when I get that same approval and love from my children and my wife. Yeah. Like, I'm like, oh shit, this is Radio City Music Hall right here under this roof. Like, I can't explain that, but like the stuff my son will say, the things my daughter will do, I'm like, oh, I couldn't get this from, I could perform in front of 100,000 people. They just, it won't feel me the way that does. So
that's interesting because you think about how many, like when you think about the famous comics, the big comics, the great comics.
Yeah.
Like I know Rodney Dangerfield's daughter, I know Carlin's daughter, and they were not raised well, and they did not have good relations with their fathers. And it's like, do you want, like you said earlier in the podcast, do you want that, or do you want, and how many comics that could have been as good as Rodney or George Carlin had the balance to say, now, you know what? I'm only going to go out this amount of time because I need to spend time with my family. And so they never got to that level. Yeah. And that's the thing that you have to come to terms with and accept so you don't resent it. You have to always remind yourself that your success is not the number of Twitter followers or how many seats you're filling, but it's thirds. Like it really is. My life is thirds. It's like my family. It's like show business and then pure stand-up and trying to make all three feed each other and work for each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's so real. And it is, it is that transition because for so much of my life, of my adult life, I'll go anywhere to do it. I'll perform for any amount. I'll do and then when I thought acting would help enhance the stand-up, acting became important. I was like 60 pounds lighter. And I was really doing the work. And what ended up happening is like all those skill sets helped me in television because I know how to talk the language of actors. I know what I'm looking for. I'm great at casting because I know what work, it's just like all these skill sets help work. And so for me, I want to be more of a conduit where I can protect comedians when they do want to come back to television and make the experience pleasurable and not, because I can look at when something falls apart. I can tell what's happening.
Yeah.
But so when I went on The Last OG, it was fun because I knew what Tracy needed. I knew what the network wanted, which was not to have Tracy calling them complaining, which he never called once. You know what I mean? It was
nice.
So like all those things, it was great. And I still got to put my point of view out there when we got to do some great things. And for me, like, I don't need to be, you don't need to know it came from me. Like when I was a kid, man, if a bully was picking on somebody, I would tell the guy getting picked on, say this. I said, you better cover he won't want to punch you after you say it, but you say this, you won't rip. And they would say it, everybody would start laughing. And I was just over there like, yeah, I told him. Like, I didn't need him to know. Right. I told him, because I'm looking at him, I was like, man, kid, I'm gonna say this about, like, and so, as I look at like just the exhaustion that but what I love about Joe's world is Joe don't have to be famous. Like Joe can just be Joe. And so if there's a way that I could just be me in that stand-up space, I'll sign up for that in a minute. But I just feel like in my world, it also comes with like all this other stuff that I'd rather use that energy on my wife and children than worry about my hair being so if I'm wearing the latest,
every Twitter thread that involves you and all
Joe, what I love about what Joe has managed to just be Joe, man, and that's just that's beautiful, man. And so if I can get that some kind of way because my mom used to always say, and I never understood it when I was a kid. And now I so understand it. But if you say it, you're kind of an asshole. But my mom used to always say, there's an opportunity cost for everything. There's an opportunity cost to everything. That's what she was saying. There's an opportunity cost to everything. And so it's like, you have to decide what you want and what's the cost, and will you truly be like, what do you value and what's going to be happy? So Joe was like the first person to say those things about me on a larger platform where I know, I'm just eternally grateful for that. Cause it made me it helped feel like the whole acceptance part. I never felt like I was a part of the comedy community. All the time, like when cats would go to Montreal, I'm like, ain't nobody asked me to come to Montreal. Or when cats would go to the comedy barbecues or the comedy ball, like ain't nobody inviting me. Like I'm not on the email. Like how do people see me? And so we all want to feel seen. We all want to feel appreciated. And when he did that, and Joe, and what blew me away, like Joe never used to talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, and I never was like, why won't Joe talk to me? I was like, that's a married man. He just said he's out. I'm married. I'm going to do my segment. And we just kind of like respected each other as two men coming to do a job. But I would notice he would sit in the room and crack up, and then he would leave. And one time Ian said to me, hey man, Joe thinks you're funny. And I was like, oh, that's dope. Cool. I said, hey, well, that's cool. But I never thought he would, say those things, which has been great. Whenever he says it, I get a spike in all my stuff. And that's awesome. It's awesome, man.
Well, you killed. I mean, you killed. You did my St. Patrick's Day show this year and fucking destroyed. That was a fun night. That was
so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
So, all right, well, listen, I'll let you roll, but enjoy your summer. What's your work schedule? You working on a show now?
I'm developing 2, so hopefully one of them goes. But if not, I want to talk to you off camera about something I want to do. I think you might be the perfect person to do it with.
All right, I love it.
Yeah, man, I really want to do this.
Let's get the wives together. Let's get a dinner one night.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I want you to do my show. You know, I do a show called Notebooks. Okay. Where the one thing comedians never throw away is their old notebooks. So you find some of your old notebooks and we'll just kind of, we'll take it from there.
I love it. Sounds deeply personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man.
Thanks
for coming on.
Absolutely.